So these are my two.
Oh, these are your two?
Well, not my two, but my two that I'm going to be working today.
Okay, all right.
This is Duncan.
So what would you do in like a run of a day with dogs? Like when you're working with them, what sort of things would you do with them?
I usually just kind of let them go out for a second, have a minute by themselves, do their business.
Sort of collect themselves.
Kind of like have a second, and then we normally head right into the group.
This is a bit like working with kids.
Yeah,
right.
And then it kind of goes by how they're going. So if Duncan's doing really good, then I push him a little bit further. If he's having an off day, he might go on umbilical cord with me and just kind of have a minute to relax.
They both seem very happy and excited.
We don't really have many issues. Duncan's come a long way. We've worked on some control with him. His biggest thing is when he gets playing, he doesn't know where to stop. Okay. And that's his big thing.
People who love dogs will tell you there are no good or bad dogs. So today on NSK9, all dogs were meant to play.
So now we've got to the point that when he's off playing, I can say, Duncan, come, and he'll come off and he'll come right to me. So we've got to that point. Levi and I have a pretty good bond that he'll come to me when I do anything. So most times he'll just hang out with me. He's kind of the same. He doesn't really know how to stop himself from being a Rottweiler. No, that's his main thing. But your mom saved you.
This is Dugan. So Dugan is my oldest dog that I have in my pack right now. He is the heart and soul of why some of the programs happened here at Playful Paws. When he was younger, he was attacked by a dog, and he ended up having very low confidence, not having a lot of trust in some people and in dogs. And when we decided to kind of start a dog daycare, we knew we wanted to make it different than all the others. We just didn't want to, dogs off leash running wild sort of daycare. We wanted them to learn during the day. We wanted them to have a structure. And we wanted to work with dogs that weren't your everyday daycare dog, which just happened to be Dugan.
Inspired by Dugan, Playful Paws' mission is to try and help any dog at their daycare and through their classes, even those with behavior issues. And that means they're often full, and often attracting dogs which haven't been able to find a place elsewhere.
In a normal day, when there's not a camera crew around, what usually goes on in here?
This is pretty much it.
How do they play?
They play, they wrestle.
Oh, I know you.
As you can see, Duncan likes to get into spats.
Well, you're the guy. So you're the one that doesn't like men, I'm told.
Yes.
Well, I guess we're changing that.
Levi, at 6.5 months old, was kicked out of his previous daycare.
Okay.
To quote the other daycare, he was just too much dog. So he was too big and aggressive for the puppies, and he was too scared of the adult dogs. So a friend recommended I give Playful Paws a call, and after a phone call that ended in tears, Playful Paws asked me to bring him in for an assessment and told me that it probably wasn't as bad as they thought, and we've been here ever since.
2 fosters rejected. They wouldn't take him back, and he flunked out of 2 homes. And they said he has a lot of behavior issues and he's a lot of trouble and we don't know what to do with him. Will you take him? So I like a challenge. So I said, yes, of course I will. And I've had difficult dogs before. I've never had a dog like Duncan. He shows signs of that he was probably abused previously. And he had some behavioral issues when I would go out walking him. If he saw a dog outside, he would bounce from my furniture and I'd have to correct him. But the day that reduced me to tears is he was doing that, he saw a dog and he peed on a fresh load of white uniform shirts. And I stood in my hallway and cried and called the foster and said, I don't know what else to do with him. I had him hiking, I have a lot of rules, we've done obedience, I even trained him to run by my bike, but he was still acting out. And they said, not a problem, we'll get you in to see Tiffany at Playful Paws and she'll evaluate him. And it was the best thing to happen because I adopted him after that.
Levi is 2 years old. He came to us as a young pup, but has always been quite skittish. We're not really sure the reasonings why, but he's lovable and affectionate, but he's very skittish, especially of men and new surroundings. He just doesn't have the confidence that most dogs portray.
Every single phone call that comes in here needs to be answered because that could be in an owner's life an emergency phone call. That they just need someone to say, it's okay, we got you. Come in, we can handle this, we're here. Sometimes that's all people need. They need to know that they're not alone.
The approach at Playful Paws is to determine the individual needs of each dog. Much of Katie's focus is working with dogs that require individualized attention, a program she calls Specialized, with the goal that their confidence will improve over time.
Like when you're thinking about like training the dogs through to becoming less aggressive or more social, I guess.
Yeah.
What sort of things do you have to do with it? Obviously, part of it's bringing them in here.
Part of them is bringing them in here, so it just kind of depends on the dog. So if we're outside, I usually have 1 yard to myself, and I work with them very slowly. I'll have them on leash, in a muzzle, and we work really, really slow. Morley? Yeah, I'm watching you. Thank you. It just kind of depends on them. So usually what we'll do is we'll try to find them one friend and then build up from there.
Okay.
So, and then once they have like a friend group somewhere else, I start bringing them closer and closer to the full group of dogs. Hi, sweetheart. So, yeah.
There you go, that makes sense.
It just kind of build up to their confidence. So if they're not ready for a full group, then I'll do a small group, keep them in a small group until we build them up. I had one that was a puppy who had no confidence, and I had to bring out all of our play equipment from puppy class and build her up. She would only play inside for a long time, and then we built it up that I put all the play equipment outside, finally built up her confidence outside, and then she finally started making some friends, and she's out of the program now.
In general, a parent bringing home a new baby or a child can be extremely stressful for all family members. And I would say my number one advice would be to go slow and to have patience because, again, this is a new experience for all family members. There are a few things that you can do to get your dog used to a new baby, and that is before they take the baby home, you can get the dog used to the baby's room, the baby's things, such as a car seat or a crib. You can even start getting your dog used to handling of the ears, the paws, the tail, as well as being familiar with people around their toys and food or water dishes. You can also, before you bring the baby home, have the dog get used to the baby's scent, whether that is on an article of clothing or a used blanket, and that way the experience isn't so foreign.
He's a little finicky with men, new people.
Well,
But he does really good.
I think I'm breaking our rule. How does it feel to get kicked out of doggy daycare?
I don't think any dog mom wants to hear that your child is a delinquent. So I was heartbroken. I have other dogs, and they're all rescues. They come with their own issues, but to know that I couldn't help Levi was it was troubling. It really was.
And so how did it make you feel once he sort of found a home here?
Relieved. It was one of the biggest reliefs. The girls accepted him and me with open arms, and not only gave Levi confidence, but they've given me confidence too in my abilities to help Levi.
Most of the time, they just don't know how to play, and I just have to help teach them what's okay and what's not okay. That's the biggest thing I see. And a lot of the time, it's dogs that have issues on leash and stuff that their parents come in and they think their dog's going to be specialized because they're having all these issues outside of here. And the moment I bring them out back, they're totally fine. It's just sometimes they have it's more leash aggression than anything. It's not anything to do with the dog per se. They're now guarding their owners.
Yeah. Getting a little crazy though, yeah. Just a little bit. Oh boy.
Katie's one-on-one work with some of the most challenging cases Playful Paws sees has paid off for many dogs and their parents.
I work with special dogs, so dogs that have a hard time being in the actual group of dogs. So either they're a little bit more dog aggressive or they're very timid, anything like that. That's kind of my job. I integrate them into the actual daycare.
And so for the dogs that can't get into this environment and that, how do they spend their days?
I normally will set up a separate group for them. Good boy, Levi. We will either go outside or we would go upstairs. And we would just have our own little group, our own little time, and with friends that he would like. So, yeah.
It's almost like a special play date.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Well, she was very aggressive. She would go aggressively towards dogs, people, cars, anything. So, and it was hard to walk her, and she dragged me across my belly in winter. So it was very hard to walk her and everything. So I needed something. So I called around, and when I found out at this place, we came, and she was really good, and she's been great ever since because we went through all the classes.
I found Lexi online as well. She was in a home that they couldn't deal with her, so she was always in a kennel. And she was also she had an issue with men, hats, jackets, and other animals.
No.
So no class would take her for training. So when my mom found this place, we talked about it and decided to join together.
Hi, Ryder. We're just filming.
Many, though not all, of the dogs which arrive at Playful Paws are rescues. And while not all rescues have behavior issues, many will come from broken situations. Playful Paws has a close relationship with many rescue organizations, even offering free passes once a week to foster families for their daycare program.
He's like,
No, rescue does not mean broken. Rescue means let down by somebody.
But there are a lot of dogs that maybe because they've been let down, have some issues with playing with other dogs or maybe some fears.
Some do. Some can be very fearful. We get dogs in locally, and we also import dogs from the U.S. from kill shelters that have high turnover rates, and we bring a lot of them here who may be fearful. They may be either overconfident or underconfident, some that just have not had the opportunity to play with other dogs, and some that just need energy disbursement. And it seems to work out perfectly here. The girls are awesome.
So what's the benefit of being able to provide this service for those types of dogs?
It definitely helps our dogs become more adoptable. We get some dogs that don't really know how to interact with other puppies or other dogs. And when they come here and they learn how to do that appropriately, it means that they're easier to place either with a family that has dogs or they're more easily adoptable because we don't have to worry about them getting dominant or aggressive with other dogs, even just on walks or at dog parks or anything like that. So it helps them become more social, helps them become more confident in their interactions with other dogs, and it helps them actually learn how to play and be a dog sometimes for those who have never had the opportunity.
They're part of the reason I adopted him. I mean, they made him, and they were really understanding about my frustrations and standing there crying because they all rescue. And they've all experienced standing there crying over a dog that you want to help and you don't know how to help them.
No one here pretends the work is easy, but the results speak for themselves.
Some people, if they have a difficult dog, maybe it's just difficult. sometimes, and it's tiring, and they
There's
just
a
don't know
lot
what
of
to
times
do.
that you want to cry. Like we say in our confidence class, one of you will cry in this class, and don't be afraid of that. Don't be upset about it, because we've been there, we've cried. All of us have a difficult dog here.
They're now traveling in the same vehicle to come to daycare every week. They don't have to be separated anymore. We can spend the weekend at each other's places with both dogs, and they can actually enjoy themselves. That's something we didn't know if we'd ever be able to have.
There's been a huge change in Levi. Here he's able to actually play and be a dog. He is more trusting. He still has his issues, but he's come leaps and bounds, and I owe that all to Playful Paws.
So in your mind, are there bad dogs?
No bad dogs. Even if they have issues, they're not doing it intentionally. They've all been through something, or they've all been, there's bad genetics, there's, past bad owners, things like that. No dog is born as a puppy to be a bad dog. It's just like asking, is there really bad kids? It's no. No child is born to be bad. That's just not how it happens. They're all innocent, and then we mold them. The world molds them. Unfortunately, bad things happen in this world, and that takes a toll on the dogs, but that's not that dog's fault. And, we're here to change that, so we can't change the beginning, but we can change the end.
Well, scooting or dragging the bum across the ground is a very normal behavior, and it's most commonly associated with impacted anal glands, which are these scent glands on the surface of the rectum. So sometimes they get full, they get itchy, and they drag the bum on the ground. Some other kind of causes that can trigger it would be allergies or even something stuck to their bum. But the one misconception that most people have is that it means that there's intestinal parasites, and that's actually a very rare cause for scooting. Most of the time, it's anal glands.
The surprising thing is how committed you get to the people. We're a very honest group, which can be good sometimes and sometimes bad. So we end up being very honest with the people and building a relationship with our clients. So it's not just about the dog then, it's about helping the people through it. Because, having Dugan has taught me about those stressful situations. I wasn't always able to take him anywhere. I wasn't always able to have him around men or, anything like that. And he would bark and freak out. And to be able to say, hey, I've been there. I know what it's like. I've had those days where I've wanted to cry because my dog is just so awful. It makes them feel like you really understand them, because we do.
So usually we'll do small groups with dogs that need a little bit extra time just before they get into the full group. So this was Duncan's life for a long time, was just a smaller group.
They understood his behavior, and they're the ones that explained to me that he was really anxious and he was scared. And when he gets anxious and scared, he either eats something or pees on it. And they helped me figure that out, and they have different training techniques. So they were fabulous. He got assigned to Katie, and they were fabulous with teaching me their training tricks and how they corrected the bad behavior. And because he was getting that done at home and here, there was a lot of consistency. And he just completely turned around, and he's a fabulous dog.
There's a lot of people that might think you're a little bit crazy for taking on the most difficult dogs.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think probably you have to be. A little bit crazy is always good, adds a little spice to the day, but it's something that needed to be done.
It seems like a lot of people just want to work with those perfect dogs. And if your dog isn't perfect, they just kind of stop you at the door and you're turned away. And I mean, that would never happen here. We want everyone to feel like they're family. We want everyone to feel like they're welcome. No matter what issues your dog has, we're here. We're here to help you. We've most likely been through it ourselves. So we get the emotion that's attached to that.
A lot of people misconstrued Duncan's play for being a little bit more aggressive, but he's actually trying to play in his own way. That's why a lot of times I have to put him back on leash, because he doesn't know how to settle back down. That's his biggest downfall, is when he gets to that point, he can't come back down. Good boy, Duncan. Yes. Good. Very nice. Good boy. That's a good play.
For Tiffany, Heather, Katie, and all those at Playful Paws, there is satisfaction in seeing the emotional growth of the dogs they work with. And who wouldn't love being around dogs all day? But it's in the faces of the dog parents that they see their greatest successes.
You would think it would be the dogs, and in a way it kind of is, but it's more seeing how happy the owners are and how much they brag about their dogs and how far their dog has come, and now look what my dog can do, and look at my dog and this dog together, and they're commenting on photos, and they're sending us photos of dogs in their home and going to family events where they can now take their dog, and it's just really, you don't realize how isolating your life becomes when you have a dog that has issues. And then when those issues are solved and you can go to a family event and bring your dog and just be normal, it's a whole new world. Like, unless you've lived it, you really can't understand how significant that is in someone's life.
And you've been able to solve a lot of issues with dogs.
Yes.
Like, not all of them, like not everything, but...
No, but even if we can't, we're not just going to leave you high and dry. We're going to find a way, or we're going to find someone.
Because every dog's welcome here, right?
Every dog is welcome. Every single dog, no matter what we have to do, if we have to make a special group, if your dog is better coming on certain days that are maybe slower than other days, whatever we have to do to make those dogs comfortable is what we're going to do.
It'd be a lot easier to have a daycare that didn't deal with problem dogs.
It would be, but it wouldn't be as rewarding. And it wouldn't be as much fun. So our slogan really is that all dogs are meant to play. And we really believe that. So we need to find the niche and the friend and the size of dog and all of that that's best for each individual dog.
Visit us online to tell us your dog stories for possible inclusion in future episodes. And don't forget to share photos of your canine friends on social media with the hashtag NSK9.
I get excited to work with some of the dogs that I'm like, oh yeah, it's Duncan's day, and I see like his friends come in, I'm like, Duncan's gonna have a great day today, or there's one out there that he hates, and I'm like, this is great. But it's just a happy place. When I come to work, I'm good. Like, this is where I want to be.
You've seen these dogs in movies and on TV, taking down the assailant, looking for drugs, and helping keep the peace in our communities. Next time on NSK9, we're training with the Police Canine Unit.
It took me approximately 3 years to slowly integrate her into the house. And now when I come home at the end of shift, she comes in the house with me. She'll interact with my family. She hangs out in the kitchen while we're prepping supper like any other dog. She lays down on her dog bed and sleeps, she's comfortable, she turns that work switch off.